Good morning, Dr. J here with the Academy to Function and bringing you your very first ATF breakout video. What we do in these videos, we spend about 5 to 10 minutes and explain exactly what it is we're trying to accomplish for each week. This process should be very educational in nature. We want you to understand exactly what it is and why it is that you're doing these things. Again, so that you yourself know what it is that you're doing, and then hopefully you can spread this knowledge to your friends and your family so they too can function better in their worlds. So this week, let's take a real quick moment to do some housekeeping notes. We're actually going to have a week 1A and a week 1B, and the reason that we're doing this is because many of you have not been able to get your hands on any equipment at this point in time. The equipment is in. It is being delivered to Creston today. We've had some back order issues, and we still actually are waiting on some resistance tubing, but everything you need to do the first few weeks is in at this point in time, is being delivered to Creston and will be in your hands. In the meantime, if you already have some equipment, I mean you were in the previous 8-week to 9-week pilot, or you have the ability to get your hands on a foam roller, a ball, or a stick or dowel, this would work, and you can go ahead and get started on your exercises. So you go ahead and start here on. If you look down, you go ahead and click on each one of the exercises. Again, remember it's just about 1 minute video explaining exactly what it is that you need to do. These are called our ATF minutes. Follow the sets and reps and the special notes on the side. Each of you at this point, if you've completed your paperwork, should have been sent a copy of your functional screening, which categorized your dysfunction and explained at the bottom what it is. You go ahead and scroll down, find your category or categories of dysfunction, and follow those exercises for the day. If for any reason you haven't completed your paperwork or you haven't sent in your photos, you can do so at any point in time. We will go ahead and we will get that screen, and we'll get your categories back to you, and you can go ahead and start your exercises at that point in time. And again, that's why this 2-week buffer, or a week 1A and a week 1B, will work out quite well for us. But we need all that information before you get started. If you're not comfortable sending in the photos, that's perfectly fine. Go ahead and go on to the www.academytofunction.com, go to the functional screening, go to the self-assessment, and go ahead and follow the directions and follow those 1, 2, 3, and go ahead and self-assess yourself and categorize yourself, and then you can follow the FFPs along with that. But until we get the paperwork, we won't be able to send everything in to you. Once we have that, you will get on the list and receive all your FFPs. So I think that takes care of the minor technicalities, or the minor kind of housekeeping notes that we need to take care of. So let's go ahead and talk a little bit what it is that we're going to be doing here in the first few weeks. First and foremost, we always have to establish mobility. Afterwards is stability, strength, and dynamic movement. But going back to the mobility, what this is reestablishing or improving our range of motion through improving the elasticity and the mobility of our soft tissue. So we're looking at muscles, we're looking at tendons, and we're looking at fascia, or connective tissue between the muscles and the skin. We are not stretching ligaments, we're not stretching cartilage, not those type of soft tissue structures. We're stretching just the muscle, tendon, and the fascia. That's our areas. So you're going to see that there's a lot of focus on what we call SMR, or self-myofascial release. That's the stick roll and the ball. What that allows us to do is to put pressure on those tissues and work those areas, and oftentimes what you're going to find are these trigger points, or these knots that you either didn't realize you had, or maybe you very much did realize they were there. But these activities will find those, and what that does is that brings blood flow to the area and allows that tissue to become more normal, because the nutrients are being delivered to it through the bloodstream, and at the same time we stimulate lymphatic flow, which takes the garbage out. So we have good stuff in, garbage out. It makes those tissues more ready for flexibility routines, and at the same time just makes them a much more healthy tissue. The mobility is mostly the stretching. We'd like to do a lot of combination stretching. The first couple weeks here we'll start with things that are rather simple, but as we get into this more and more, we're going to get into much more myofascial type stretching, or yoga type stretching, where we're putting in combination movements. We're going multiplanar and multi-joint, so we're moving on different planes, whether that's forward, backward, side to side, or twisting, and then we're also going to add multiple joints into it: hips, knees, ankles, shoulders, etc., so that we're really maximizing the stretch on that connective tissue, or that fascia, so we can reestablish mobility much faster and in a way that is much more efficient with your time, and at the same token is much more functional in nature, because it involves those multi-planes and multi-joints. So that's our focus here for the first few weeks, is we really want to help you start reestablishing that motion. We're really looking forward to this opportunity to working with you all in this 52-week pilot. You're going to find that in a very, very short amount of time, you're going to start, you may feel a little sore the first couple days, but you're going to really start to feel much, much better. We highly encourage you to go ahead and do the cardio sessions too. You don't have to, but those are great again for reestablishing cardiorespiratory fitness. And at the same time, it also helps with the facilitation of good stuff in, bad stuff out. We would love for you to do each one of these exercises at least twice a day in 5 to 7 days a week. But again, you don't have to. Our goal is to try and have these finished within 15 minutes so they can work in your world. And so at least doing them once a day would be very, very, very beneficial to you. If many of you have more than 2 dysfunctions, and so if that's the case and you just don't have the time for it, in the morning if you could start on one, and in the evening do another, or again if that's not possible, just certainly start on our rule of thumb is go ahead and start from the ground up or your primary chief complaint. So even if you have a low back issue and you have like an L1 designation or an L2 designation, which means it's closer to the floor, we strongly encourage you to start with that, because the body is a kinetic chain and it's going to work its way up the chain. So start on the lower segment first. On the flip side, if your primary or chief complaint is really shoulder, neck pain and things like that, go ahead and start on U1 categories, and you can work kind of top down. But that's our general rules of thumb when you get started, and we look forward to working with you all, and you have a wonderful day, and welcome to the Academy to Function.